Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 30 of Rannoch, our vanilla Boreal City Skylines build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And there's no other way to introduce today's episode. It is finally time to build probably the best thing in the city, the Skyline, the master central business district, which of course last episode we put a lot of work in toward that with our downtown frame, which is super important for planning all this infrastructure. Now, in terms of inspiration for Rannoch's Skyline over the years, we've taken looks at Pittsburgh, Chicago, Phoenix, of course, lots of cities across Australia for this year. But for Rannoch's Skyline, with the orientation of the bridges, the waterways, and just the general angle here, we're going to be taking quite a lot of inspiration from Jacksonville, Florida. Again, just with the positioning of the networks, with the water, the very unique style towers they have around. Now, we're definitely not going for an exact recreation of Jacksonville, but we're certainly going to take some inspiration from it. So let's get started, shall we? Absolutely love the Skyline episodes. I only get to do these once or twice a year, so I'm very excited. First of all, I know the asset I want to sit in this exact spot. We previewed it last episode. This is going to be the service and offices. Absolutely love this asset. So let's just go pretty much there, which I think is quite nice. Now, I don't want it there, obviously, I actually want it here, but I want to do a little bit of design with the roads out front. So let's grab a 2-lane road with grass and median. And let's see, what's it up to there? 7? Can we get a perfect 7 curve in here, I wonder? Might be able to from there. Seems to be pretty much right down the middle of the building, doesn't it? I think it is. And if we just flip you around, I think I'm happy with that. It's going to be slightly set back off the main road, of course. Lots of landscape opportunities there as well, isn't there? And I want lots of green belt through here as well. I really want this to be a big walkable, sort of walk along the towers, right? Cool. So that's our first asset in. And a really nice addition as well. I love this asset. Definitely one of the best, I think, towers from the vanilla game, I think. Really do enjoy the service and offices. So focusing in around here, I already know another asset I want to use. And this is going to be the business park. Now, I might have probably not left enough room there. I haven't indeed. Thing is though, oh, it centralizes, does it? Sort of looks like it does. But we haven't left enough room there, so let's just amend the shape of this key. We'll just need to essentially make this key run that way instead of there. Just make this bit a little bit deeper. It's no problem at all. But we actually want to make sure that we have fully terraformed room there. Also make sure we send it up alongside this way too. I hope you all have had a wonderful Christmas and New Year, by the way. By the time this goes out on YouTube, it would have already been. But for those on early access on the Patreon, it's a little bit closer to that time of year. Fantastic. So that's great, isn't it? That's really going to add into our big kind of centralized design we've got running through here, right? Really like that. So I think if we're going to run with this kind of big design here, let's have a look at an asset and sit in this space and really start to complete this central plaza square. So we'll continue moving through our vanilla uniques first before we start diving into the content creator stuff, because I do know what I want to use. So another absolute chungus of a tower from the vanilla game is the high interest. Oh, that pretty much exactly fits and sits there. Now this is a wide boy, the high interest tower. Got girth to it. But girth isn't a bad thing. You know, sometimes it's easy to be scared of girth, but it's often the best way. I like that. It's nice, isn't it? How are we feeling from in the city? We'll take a few viewpoints around today. But yeah, I can get on board with that. It's very nice, isn't it? I do like it. Its LOD pops a little bit, but we can live with it. And that's really going to complement our main sort of plaza here, isn't it? Let's continue building up around this plaza. So this is going to be kind of the peak of our skyline. So we want our big, tall towers around here. The next tower I want to include is one of my favourites, or two of my favourites actually, going from Modern Japan. Which, by the way, don't forget, if you're missing any of these DLCs, Modern Japan, Skyscrapers, Park Hearts of Korea, all down below on Instant Gaming, you can get them for very cheap now. And it does help support the channel at the same time. So we also previewed this one last episode as well, the company headquarters. I would love to have this sat here. However, I want to do a little bit of a trick with the road around this way. So I just want to upgrade this front section into a wide road. It can be 4 or 6 lane. And then place that in the middle. And then downgrade it back into a regular small one. Which will just give a little bit of breathing room at the front of the building there. But I also want that tower there, company headquarters, lovely building. I've always wanted to do this with this asset for some reason. Kind of have it in a square, kind of in a large square. Never really had the space to do it in any other cities, but we do here, so I'm having it there. Fantastic. Another Japanese tower. The office skyscraper. Think. Oh, it fits and sits. It does fit and sit. In it goes. Though, them's be the rules. However, the bottom of this tower is really nice. It has lots of these little kind of covers. There's depth to the building, which I really like. I think that's just going to be such a nice complement facing out into our Metro Plaza, isn't it? Which is already starting to get busy with just a few unique buildings around here. Can't wait to see this thing in full flow at the end of today. Should be extremely exciting. Wonderful. That is another one in. I like that. Let's have a look at the opposite side of the Metro Plaza now. Now I think I know what asset I want to use over here. We're going to dip into the World of Skyscrapers Content Creator Pack for the first time. And I'm going to go for the Six Rivers Center. And I want to have this one, I think, there. I think that angle with the steps kind of exposed as part of the skyline. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. I think we'll run with that. It's not going to be the tallest though. We are finally going to use one of the tallest, well, the tallest building in the game, which is the Torre Manilva, which is from Spain apparently. And where do we want this one to go? So this one has quite a small footprint really, considering how tall it is. And why don't we say, I'm just trying to think, because I want the waterfront towers here to be quite extravagant. So how about that one there? It's a super, super tall boy, isn't it? This is very nice though. First time we've used it. It was not included in Orchid Bay's skyline. But it will be included in Rannoch's, making it the tallest building in the city. Also the tallest building in the game. I'm pretty sure it is taller than Pinal Street. Okay. Does look very isolated though on its own at the minute. It definitely wants some more towers around the base of it, but you know, if we were to sit all the way over here in this house, it's starting to develop, isn't it? So excited. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love the skylines. Tremendous. Cool. So whilst we're in skyscrapers, let's also throw in some further towers around here. We have the Galustrum, which is a very nice building as well. I'd love to have this one included. Let's have this. Perhaps here. And then I also want one of these chunky wide boys as well. You will fit there next to our train line. Get 2 extra towers in there. Again, that one actually blocks out the view of the Japanese tower there, doesn't it? This one does have a smaller, fatter sister, if you like. This one perhaps might be more appropriate. Tough decision, that one, isn't it? The height is always welcome. But you know, sometimes the smaller one is nicer. I think it allows the other towers around it to breathe a little bit more. I think we might actually run with the smaller one in that case. I think we might. Also loving how you can start to see all the kind of office windows from these ramps here as well. That was a very key feature of the downtown here. Really want it to feel quite claustrophobic because you're driving around on these ramps here. Wonderful. So there's plenty more skyscraper towers to bring in. Which we absolutely will. You also do know another one I want to use, if I can dig it out, this one here with the really nice wide base on it. I think I want this one here. And now when we start piecing together some airport aprons here, which unfortunately do collide with the towers, although I think with certain positionings we might be able to be a little bit clever. Plus they maybe change some roads up to highway roads, but hopefully we can create some nice kind of plaza spaces around here. Well, let's turn our attention back towards some of the waterfront buildings. I would love to use the Acrocaster apartment complex from Hearts of Korea. This is a very distinctive looking building. Now, can we have it next door to the servicing offices, I wonder? This one does have some more interesting arrangements with the sides of the building here, in terms of making them kind of more walkable, you know. So maybe we could put a pathway down here, but I feel like that's a little bit hidden down there, isn't it? Perhaps there's a better place for this tower around here. Maybe down this side, actually, I think. Maybe let's go with that. Let's bring this one over here. And then that way we can use all the space around the bottom of this tower, which is really cool looking. Let's go ahead and turn that weather off. My apologies. Yeah, I think this will lend itself much better, and then we can probably bring a pedestrian road down the back of these two, actually. Just need to realign where that node sits, but that'll probably work out quite nicely. How many tiles do we have there? It's 2 tiles, isn't it? So let's just go ahead and test that. Let's grab ourselves the pedestrian road here. Yeah, we can bring that straight through, can't we? I think that has to be the play, doesn't it? And then we can create some really cool skyscraper plaza stuff at the bottom of here, can't we? Which will just be wonderful, to be honest. So I actually really look forward to that. It does mean we just got to slightly rework how this road is going to sit in the middle, which is okay. Let's prioritize these smaller pedestrian streets. This is why I said last episode, you know, the road frame is very much flexible. It's just kind of there as a bit of a placeholder to help just structure things as you go. So I think it's definitely worth doing those downtown road frames to prepare for stuff like this, right? Special. And then you can go right the way through here, up to there, and then that gives much more purpose to the bottom of this tower, doesn't it? I think. I definitely don't think I'm overthinking that. Would hope not anyway, right? God forbid I overthink something to do with the skyline, right? So can we do... We can do that. That was a little bit weird though, doesn't it, I think? That could possibly be the better option there, maybe. And it starts to angle the inner grid a little bit more as well, doesn't it? Cool, anyway, that's inner city street detailing. That's stuff for our time lapse. Let's come back to actually forming the skyline here. So I'm liking these. I think I want to maybe move this one a little bit closer. Let's go up for here. I do like the little plants on the back of this. I'd quite like to complement that with something if we can. But we have you there, and let's find another tower for this spot right here. Let's come back to skyscrapers. And how about Thuram Park here in the middle? They're actually the two opposite of the same tower, aren't they? Which I am not really a fan of doing that, I don't think, so we'll not have that one there. Just want any other tower really. How about the Torbellini? This is a big glass number, isn't it? We've also got some, one more skyscraper from Japan to use as well. Which we might see if we can squeeze in around here. Maybe there. Possibly there. We'll see. In terms of how we're feeling around here, not too bad. Again, I think I don't want lots of towers really kind of squished in next to each other. So if we were to take a look at, oh, let's look at that. I think we can develop another little plaza there, can't we? Yeah, I think we can. Yeah, I think we'll go with that one there. And then maybe we can even repeat some of the tree patterns we find around the buildings here. It's lots of cottonwoods and jacarandas, isn't it? So why don't we do a little sort of landscaped cottonwood pattern here in between the towers, almost as though it's kind of some sort of little mini Zen garden, if you like, for the corporations that operate here. Nice little space filler. That blends in with the greenery already present on the towers, doesn't it? I think we can get away with that. In terms of the configuration, I'm happy with that, how that develops in the skyline there. It's already looking so cool, isn't it? Should we get in the stadium? Oh, look at that. How cool. To kind of sit and watch a game here with that skyline in the background. I'm so desperate to check out the nighttime view, but we will savor it. Savor it. First ever view. Wonderful. So as we start coming down toward this corner here, I really want the skyline to start crawling down. So let's bring in some buildings to respect that. So we do have some chunkier little stubby towers around here I'd like to use. So let's have one Montgomery on the corner. And then one Galveston is also a really nice asset as well. But we have you on that corner there too. So it's not all going to be unit buildings, we will bring in some zonings. I think we will actually go ahead. In terms of the office specialization, IT cluster is by far the tallest. Commercial, probably vanilla is definitely the taller commercial option. We won't be doing industry here. And residential, probably Green Cities again is the tallest of all the specializations, I think. So let's go ahead and get that district painted out because we will use some of those specializations in the skyline. So if you are planning to follow along, I'm giving no commercial specialization. I'm going to do IT cluster, and I'm also going to do Green Cities as well. Because I would just like to have a couple of little zonings, especially as we move into these smaller spaces here, to be respecting some of those zonings. So let's get some IT cluster going around here. I definitely wouldn't mind some of those big, kind of taller Green Cities towers beginning to develop in here too. Land value shouldn't be an issue here because these are essentially parks with them being unique buildings. Let's come back to our buildings. Let's have a look at some more Japanese stuff. I love these office buildings here. The shopping centres are also really nice. Why don't we have one of these here? That's a great corner building, isn't it, that one? Yeah, I'm going to like that. Little hotel. You can see a little Green Cities tower starting to grow up there as well. That's very nice. Are we happy with that one? That blends in pretty seamlessly with all the But let me turn off weather here. I realise it keeps raining. It blends in rather than nicely with the skyscrapers pack, doesn't it? That's obviously these are very small at level 1. Don't historicalize any of these really. We want them to go to levels 4s and 5 so they reach their maximum heights. So ignore them for the minute. They will eventually come to be blended in. Superb. Okay, so this is all coming together around here. There's lots more zonable space in there. We can also get some car parking assets in. That's going to be wonderful. I'd like to have a look at these spaces around here, I think, next, where again we're going to want to be remaining relatively tall. And since we're putting something so close next to the high interest tower, I don't think I want something that's as wide. So why don't we go for tower 69 perhaps? I don't know if this one's the one with the really weird stand, isn't it? It's a real overhang kind of skyscraper, isn't it? Again, it is a contrast to the high interest tower, isn't it? Rather than kind of dumpy and wide, it's very thin and tall. Okay, I'm loving that. This view right here is beginning to develop. Very happy with this. I think it was definitely the right shout to go with a smaller version of this one, wasn't it? I think it was. People walking over this pedestrian bridge now as well. So exciting, everyone. So exciting. So I think in terms of more grandiose towers along the waterfront, are we happy with that? As like kind of the waterfront collection. Got the service and offices, the Torre, office skyscraper. It's a nice little rise. I think I'm happy with it. At least these waterfront bits anyway. I'm not sure what we'll do with the spaces either side of this. We could get more towers in, or we could landscape it to kind of essentially make it a really kind of narrow plaza around the tallest building in the city and kind of just landscape it like that. Put some pathways and whatnot, make it all walkable concrete space. Oh, just look at this. Look at this, everyone. It's happening. It's happening. We also want airport aprons here too. There we go. More detail those up in our time lapse, of course. This is just so exciting though, isn't it? There's so many people just moving around. Potential to be one of the busiest downtown centres we've ever put together here, actually. Not even done yet either. It's already just insane. Anyway, don't get distracted. We have a whole episode to make here. So we also got the Tour Saint-Denis, which is a tall office building in France, if you couldn't tell. Looks like there's a little sweet spot there, isn't there? Just where it'll hover away from the road. I saw it just very briefly. Come on, Vanilla. There we go. if you just spam click, it will go in eventually. Yep, I'm happy with that. So I want another tower for this corner here, which I do want to start coming down a little bit here. I don't just be endless, kind of never-ending height, but I want to try avoid a lot of the duplicate towers if we can. We've got this one here. I want some of the more funky shaped ones. We've got these ones down here, haven't we? Which are really interesting. Very thin and narrow numbers, aren't they? This one won't even fit here, because it's that thin and narrow. That's fine, then we can find somewhere else for those. So how about this one? Which one do we want to go for? There's obviously kind of a tall and a small variant, isn't it? I just think this against the rail line here would be very cool. I think so. Can't really see much of that one in the skyline anyway, can you? I don't mind it though. I think that's quite nice actually. I think we'll go with that. Yep. Happy with that one. And then where we do have a lot of broken grid, where we're not going to be zoning, I wouldn't mind having more towers in there. This one looks like it'll fit quite nicely on the corner of that one there. That's the one Embarcadero, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think for towers, at least for the main central skyline, which is what we're working on today. For those that aren't aware, we're going to develop a more older downtown around here using campus assets and kind of older European buildings. That'll be a separate episode, absolutely. Really want to focus on this central business district today. Okay, I think in terms of towerage, I think we might be finished there. I think we'll maybe save some of these older ones. Do have the Australian poly buildings. These are very kind of cute and modern, aren't they? Why don't we have one of you? Maybe one there. And then Marshalltown Tower. Then we could possibly have the Catalina's Tower in there as well. I think that might be it for final tower configurations. Obviously there's going to be zoned buildings that pop up in various different spaces, but for the central business district configuration, I think I'm happy with that. I think that's pretty nice, isn't it? There's a nice climb here. I have a distinctive dip either side. It's almost like mirrored either side of the high interest tower, isn't it? Let's go somewhere real deep in the city. Where should we go? Somewhere over here. Maybe actually can we sit in this stadium and see the skyline? That's pretty cool, isn't it? I like that. I actually really like that. I love the shape of it. How about from Shaflantic City? Right the other side of Rannoch. Can we see it from here, I wonder? Let's pretend we're maybe on the top floor of the training campus. It looks so far away, doesn't it? So far away, that skyline. Absolutely brilliant. I'm a huge fan of it. I'm smiling. I hope you all are as well. I really do hope you all are. I know we've all been waiting for this for a very, very long time indeed. But I really like it. I really like it. And it feels like a good place for a detailing time-lapse where we have a ton of inner city detailing to do. Including all these spaces connecting the pedestrian roads where we want them to be connected. Tons of spaces, lots more airport apron. Also want to bring in some service buildings as well, of course. Some of the service buildings are really, really chunky, especially with kind of their high density counterparts, if you like. So we'll absolutely squeeze in things like these chunky modern fire stations into the skyline. Alongside plenty more zoning, basically whatever the city wants. I think it's pretty much residential at the minute, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll get plenty of green cities residential growing up to get those big, tall towers in to help complement our actual towers. Parks, props, and we probably don't need public transport around here. I think I did want to include an intercity bus station. So we might find some space for that. But let's landscape and detail up our central business district. And then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little tour around what is essentially the first episode of downtown Rannoch with our CBD skyline, and I am super happy with it. It's a real nice blend of all different assets and styles, and there's some really wonderful sightlines to be enjoyed around it, which we'll get to in a second. But love the approach of the interchange, right? We've long awaited this viewpoint right here, waiting for the shape of the skyline to sit in. And I hope you will like it. I'm a huge fan of it. I really, really like it. It's great design. Anyway, let's head over here. There's a sightline I really want to show you all. Using this edge here as a bit of a border, Old Town will kick in around here with our university assets, our European assets will come in. So don't pay too much attention here to this border. Things like this are likely to change as the European zone and stuff comes in. There is also a hotel in here. There's also been a few new towers added in the time-lapse. But as we head down this pedestrian street here, you'll notice that mid-century modern. So we actually changed the commercial specialization to modern city centre. So you'll see these assets around a bit as well. As we come through here, just as we emerge into the central space, more zoning down here. You'll see that modern city centre stuff again through the transport tower in place of where the fire station was. Wasn't quite happy with the fire station there. I love seeing the rail when trains come through this, so we got hopefully a train on its way, perhaps? No, of course there isn't. We'll see one. I'll make sure to leave one in the cinematics. I would love how the train passes through the city centre here. Yeah, I just love it. I love putting together city centres. There's so much fun little bits of landscape in here where it wasn't quite zonable. More IT cluster mixed in around there too. There's a plaza in here now, which is actually active rather than just props. Then we also have one of these glass roof plazas over here too. Pathway cutting alongside the building, and then as we emerge into this central plaza, isn't that just a fantastic sightline, right? Now we can see a train. He's going to go back through. Hold on, let's catch him on his way out. Wait for it. Any second now. he's going to come. There you go, look at that. Oh, tram underneath as well. Yes, please. But yeah, I love this. This is possibly my favourite downtown view I think we might have ever created. IT cluster next door to towers blends in so nicely, doesn't it? Just the sheer walkability of the central plaza space with the metro. How many people are on that metro line down there? Super busy. And it just non-stop intercity connection with the train. At some point this train line will also connect to the other side of the bay as well, thus making this just more and more busy. Just, I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's all centrally framed with the business park there as well. Isn't that just superb? Absolutely love it. Skyline from the waterfront here. At least the first part of the skyline as well. Of course, the European part of it will kick in here. More older style buildings, cathedrals, the old Market Street asset and stuff like that. Frame the business park with some red pathways that flow all along the green belt here. I imagine once we have more things down here, the quay will become a lot more walkable, but until that point, it is pretty quiet on the waterfront right now. I've seen some people walk down here, but most people are just walking on the street as you would expect. There you go, so there's a person there, isn't there? Yeah. They're pretty quiet, but it will get busy, of course. And it's just cool. The pedestrian pathway connects in here. For some reason, they do turn to bridges near these buildings for some reason, the pedestrian road. Super weird. But I managed to squeeze it in regardless. So this tiny little segment here is actually technically a bridge. I don't know why they behave like that. Then that pedestrian street cuts back down onto the plaza we saw a moment ago. Oh, here comes another boatload of people. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Isn't that so good? Just amazed. So happy. So happy. Yes, and then all of our big towers are just sat here, and there's nothing more fun than just sitting in the foot of a skyline and then watching the bustle of the city. It really feels like a city now, you know, it has this in it. So it's such a massive milestone for my build projects, having the CBD go in. Look at that. It's not even clearing that backlog, is it? We need more metro trains here. Just love it. So good. Next door to this, we have some fountain detailing with classic fountain and benches. Also some old school kind of rock garden detailing, really. Just kind of more tropical flowery plants to help frame one of the more unique buildings in the city. Technically the tallest building as well. And then same mirrored over that side as well. So kind of a fun way to really respect the more narrow space we had around that. I really like how it turned out. Of course, with pathways back and two between, so it becomes a walkable plaza. There is IT cluster through here. More zoning, flower plazas. It's just a treat to walk through more IT cluster. And on these slip roads off of the highway, we can find one of them over here. Actually removed the zoning, so these buildings that are sat around here aren't actually on this road, they're on this one. Which means they won't have to go all the way around the highway just to get back to the access point. There you go, you can see where the hot dog van's pouring in for there. So that worked out a lot better. And that's the same for all these little highway slip roads that come in. There is unfortunately just a little bit of AI farting, but it's not backing up too much, it is okay. Down here, our kind of tapered off district is really just filled with Green Cities apartments in various different configurations and sizes as the rail passes between these. Which high-speed rail and Green Cities is a very nice kind of combination, isn't it, if we take a second to enjoy that combination right there. There's parking spaces squeezed in at the foot of the towers where we don't have too much zonable space because I don't want to like cram it all in like window to window. Just have some basic tree detailing. Chucked in the Dosan Center here, which is one of my favourite assets. This is from Hearts of Korea. Really nice unique building. Sits in perfectly well in the downtown here, doesn't it? And then just run some pathways alongside that with some more landscape gardens at the foot. Then here at the front of the service and servicing offices, just tree lined, they were bush lined I guess technically, with some further path work just to kind of complement the curve of the road, and didn't that work out wonderfully? It's a great little kind of bird's eye perspective, that isn't it? You see people kind of moving around the tower, they're going up the stairs there, they're coming down the side of the building. It just I know it seems so simple, but for me it just makes a massive difference seeing people move around a space like that, where you would expect them to walk in real life. And I really like it. The view from the networks here as well is absolutely fantastic. Really, really like that. Can't wait to see this metro hooked in as well once it eventually arrives over this side of the map, as the rail has done. But a really cool view from the networks here. Regardless, I'm going to wait to show you the nighttime view at the end of the cinematics. I'm not going to spoil it mid-episode, so stay tuned to the end to catch the first nighttime views. Tons of people cycling up and down the arterial, which is absolutely wonderful. Prop spaces in and around our public transport spots, which is very nice. There's just a great observation point here of seeing the trams come and go, different lines stopping at different points. These white trams here, the ones that head back up to this transport hub over here, that come back across, are actually pretty quiet, surprisingly, considering how busy this area is. But I think maybe they're all just stopping here beforehand, rather than heading into the CBD. I think this tends to siphon a lot of traffic out of it, but they're not the busiest trams in the world. But either way, they do go quite a long distance now, don't they? And yeah, I love this approach down here as well into the city centre. It's a great view from the highway as you're passing through the skyline. Just love it. Lots of different towers, uniques, zoning. Absolutely wonderful. I'm a huge, huge fan of it. I love the city centre. Of course, it's only kind of part 1 of our city centre as well, isn't it? Probably parts 2, 3 and 4 as we build out these areas, which will all be high density, old town, and then we'll kind of fade away from that as we begin to develop these areas. And I'm very much looking forward to having in the port on the other side of the river. Once all that shoreline's built up, this kind of whole strait here is going to be just such a cool district of the city, isn't it? As the skyline finally arrives in Rannoch, and we'll say goodbye with a view of the city centre, which is just so incredibly busy, isn't it? Either way, guys, I hope it was worth the 30 episode wait, by far and away the longest we've waited for a skyline episode in any of our vanilla city builds, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. As I said, it's only part 1, so parts 2, 3 and 4 will follow this one. I will definitely kind of spend a lot of time in the CBD over here, getting it all finished and polished off before we probably hop to the other side of the strait to begin working on some major industrial infrastructure, including the international airport complex and the city's main cargo harbour, which is always a lot of fun. I love those builds. All in the shadow of this skyline as well. I'm really looking forward to kind of the mid to late game Rannoch as the city continues to grow and age. Really enjoying it. Massive shout out to all the patrons supporting the channel, with a special roll call to our Golden Eggs, Andrew Perez, Phoenix MD, Louis Adlam, and O'Hay Casino. If you want to get involved in that, links down below are always the best way to support the channel. And don't forget, if you're following along and you're missing any of these buildings, go grab them on Instant Gaming. They're super cheap and it does help support the channel at the same time. And I hope you have enjoyed it. Please do hang around for those cinematics, but I'll shut up and leave it there. I just thank you all so much indeed for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.